Hey, we've got Johnny in today.
Hey, what's going on, Dane? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. What'd you bring in today?
Awesome. Well, what I brought you today is actually another Ovation. This is a 1979 Ovation Model 1651 in chestnut finish, otherwise known by a local kind of indie musician known as John Lennon. John used a guitar exactly like this, which I believe would have been made right around the same time that this exact guitar was made, 78, 79. He used an Ovation 1651 in this finish, just as you see here, on his last album, Double Fantasy. Now, it's well documented that John took a little hiatus from music starting in 75 when the birth of his son, Sean, was born. And by 1980, he was ready to kind of, after a trip to Bermuda, he was ready to kind of come out of retirement and start putting together a new album. So in secrecy, he started recording an album in New York City. He was working, I think, with David Geffen and some other people too on making a comeback album with Yoko. And you know, on the cover of that iconic album, you know, he and Yoko are almost kissing, right? And hence the idea of Double Fantasy. But I suspect that he probably wrote and recorded with this guitar heavily in the production of that album, and which ended up being the last before his untimely death, which we're coming up now on the 40th anniversary of both the album and his death, which is hard to believe that John has been gone as long as he's been in this world. So when you think about that, you know, he died at 40, and then it's been 40 years since he died, so it's just kind of crazy when you think about that, you know. So but
starting to feel really old right now.
I know, me too, right? So, but anyway, here it is in its original case. It came out of Tucson. It has had a little bit of a crack here that's been repaired, and it's been cleated, so shouldn't be any issues there. The neck feels great. Everything about this guitar is, you know, pretty sound. I'd say it's in fair to good condition, somewhere in that range. But for what it is, and just for the conversation piece alone, because it's the same model, near the same year of what John Lennon actually used on his last album, is pretty sensational. You know, to have that kind of as a Beatle fan. And I mean, to have any kind of Beatle guitar for under $1,000 is pretty amazing. It's pretty hard to find anything like that. So
Ovations were definitely the go-to guitar back in the day. Now they've sort of been overshadowed by Taylor and a couple other companies.
They have
taken the lead.
But this is at this particular time. I mean, this was the golden age in the '70s of Ovation and the innovation that they had and everything. And I mean, you think John Lennon, he could have had any guitar he wanted. Right, anything. He could have got a classic Gibson or a Martin,
right,
or something like that. I mean, that's probably what a lot of people would have done back in the day. But John went to Ovation, and I don't know if it was a gift from the company or if he happened to just see it and he wanted to try it. You know, we can look here at the back, and what's really cool about this, it is an acoustic electric. You know, you've got your treble and bass adjuster and volume right here, and kind of two different turns here. You know, you can turn it here.
I see.
Yeah, for the volume, and then for the bass and the treble, you can adjust it right there. So that's pretty innovative. But what's really cool is that it's got these two input jacks, as I'm sure John Lennon's had too. So you've got one that says stereo and one that says mono. So it's almost like it's Rico sound, like from Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
It's like Rico sound. But I've never seen another acoustic guitar ever have your choice of stereo and mono. And I think that this might be the secret weapon that John had in recording that album. Maybe he wanted more of a rich sound in the studio. Whatever the case is, he really, I mean, he wrote a lot of this at the Dakota, wrote a lot of the album and when he was traveling. But then he also did it, I think, in the studio. And I think he used probably the stereo version of this to get more of a dynamic sound when he was working with his band. So, but anyway, yeah, this is a pretty rad instrument in fair condition that, you know, you can have a lot of fun with. So anyway, we can go sit and play it for a few minutes and kind of see where it goes from there. But
that sounds good.
1979 Ovation 1651, otherwise known as John Lennon's last acoustic guitar. Hey everybody, so here I am with the 1979 John Lennon Ovation Model 1651. Ovations, older Ovations are really going up in value. The innovation at the time is pretty sensational. You know, you can see the two different jacks here, and you have your tone and volume adjuster there. There was a little bit of a scratch here on the back of the neck that I had tried to have buffed out, but it's not a neck repair, it's just in the finish. Anyway, so here it is, and happy bidding if you're interested.